Hello everyone, welcome back to section 5 of this course. I'm so excited. This is the last section of the course, and what we have going on in this section is going to be pretty cool. You're going to make your own graphic data storage application. So I'm very excited because you'll have a fully working application that you'll be able to modify it and turn it into something that is useful to your specific needs. So what's the narrative? The sales team of a company is looking for a more efficient way to store sales order. Your job is to simplify the process by creating an application that stores the information of new orders in Excel files. So it's just as simple as that. Let's say somebody wants to order something. What your application will do is it'll have multiple options. You select one of the options, and the sales team is going to be able to store that information into Excel spreadsheets that you made beforehand. So it should be pretty useful, and again, you can modify it to whatever you want. In this video, we're going to focus specifically on how you can use Python to write to an Excel file. So before we did reading from Excel files, this time we're going to do writing to Excel files. So they're both pretty useful features, so pay attention to this video. What are the goals? Well, you learn how to write to an Excel file, like I mentioned. You are going to be able to, you'll create the initial storing format for the spreadsheet. So what I mean by that is we're going to make the date, the last date that document was modified. We're going to add that into the spreadsheet, and we're going to have different categories just so we can use them for the future videos. You'll be able to know the number of rows in a certain spreadsheet and use the datetime module to get the latest modification time of the document. So that's going to be very, very useful, and it's going to be a unique feature of this application. Now, before I show you the code, I just want to show you what the application looks like so you have a better idea of what we're doing at any given point in this section. So this right here would be the start menu. So this is just a screenshot I took of the application. So in this case, we have the application here. We have the title of the application. We have an image, and we have two buttons. So the team is able to select chair or table. In this case, this is going to be for a furniture store. Now we want to keep it as simple as possible, but still applicable. But if you wanted to, you'll have the tools to be able to add more buttons and more items to your application. Then let's say you select table, you'll be taken to a menu like this, where you have an entry field for the size of the table, the color, the quantity. And right here, you have the back to home, which will just take you back home. And you have the button finish the order. Once you click finish the order, all the information you enter here will automatically be stored in the Excel spreadsheet. And that's pretty much it. Once you do that, the Excel spreadsheet is going to look exactly like this. You have the latest modification time of the file. You have item, size, color, and quantity. And as you enter the information, the spreadsheet is going to fill up like this. You have table, size. I just made this up, but of course, if you want to do this, you probably want to do size, I don't know, 10 by 20. Color black, quantity 20, but it'll be all nice and organized. And what is also very cool about this is that the program will detect that there's something written here, so it'll detect that and it'll write the next data that you get from the app right below it here, and it'll keep doing that. You'll be able to stack a lot of information, and you won't get rid of the previous information unless you do so by yourself. So awesome. Now let's get straight into the code. So as you can see, some of the code from this imports right here is not going to be used until the next sections, but like before, I just want to give you the whole code from the beginning here so that you just keep using the same one and you don't have any problems. So we're going to need tkinter, and this is what is going to allow us to make the graphic user interface for the application. And we're going to need to specifically import this. We need datetime module. We need Again, tkinter as tk. We need Xlrd. What this is gonna do, this is the one for reading from Excel files. This is the one for writing. And what this is gonna do, this one right here, is it's gonna allow us to use the reading and the writing simultaneously. So we want to use the reading just to check if there's something written and to write below that. And we want to use the writing because we want to write to an Excel file. Now these modules, again, if you don't have them, you can just go like I showed you before on your settings, project interpreter, and then you would just look for the name of the module and install it into your PyCharm. If you're using other idle, you just want to go on your terminal and do pip install Xlrd, pip or pip3 install Xlrd. So try both of those. Once you have them download, then you shouldn't have any problems at all. So the first thing that we need to do is to make the Excel file to store the information. So right now I have the file already made, but how do you make an Excel file? Well, it's simple. First, what we want is make this variable here, style1, and that's going to be equal to this right here, this module, .xf style. And then what we want is to use the method num_format str to use this right here, and we want to set the format as this. And what this is going to do, this is going to set up the format of the date. So as you'll see, I'll show you after this, it'll have the date right on the first row and the first column. Once you do that, you're going to need to use this part of the code. So what I have here is workbook, or WB equals xwt.workbook. Use this workbook object. Then sheet1 is equal to wb.addSheet. And this is where you make the name of the sheet. So I just say May 2018. Then cell overwrite equals true. This is so that we can modify it, because if you don't do this, then you won't be able to modify it. And then, just like writing, we can also write to it. So what we can do is just say sheet1.write. Here you enter the row, then the column. So we want row 0, column 0. And what do we want to write? We want to write datetime.now, so the current date. And this comes from the datetime module. We want that to follow the format that we said right here on style1, which is day, month, year. So once you do that, what you're going to do is next you're going to use wb.save, and then this is where you're going to enter the name of the file. So in this case, I want to name this file May 2018 orders.xls. So I'm gonna comment this out, but once you have this code right here, if you run it, what it's gonna do is let's say I have this file already, but if I didn't have it, it would make the file for me. So you will see it'll make an Excel file here in the same directory that I'm working with. And then what we can do is we can just open the file just to see what it looks like and to see that it has the datetime. So, and as you can see in the first row and the first column, we have our date here, which is date, month, year. And if we click here, we can see that it even gives us a date, which is perfect, just so that we can have more exact information. Now, if you run it again, it's going to change the date again because the date is constantly changing, right? Once you do that, you can just comment this code out because you won't need it anymore. We have the file already, so we won't need it again. And then this is where things get a little bit more interesting, more juicy, like I like them. So I'm going to uncomment this. And what you're going to do is you're going to make two objects. You're going to make the read workbook and the read sheet object. and you're gonna use the Xlrd. This is similar to what we use for the reading from the spreadsheet that we used for the previous section and the one for the emails. And we're gonna use the method open workbook, and then of course we want to open this workbook here that it was created by us. Formatting info equals true. That's important too. And then the read sheet is gonna be equal to read workbook that sheet by index, and we want the first sheet. So that's why 0 here. Then what we'll need is we'll need the workbook and the sheet to write on. So how do we do that? Well, we use copy, and copy comes from this right here. And it's gonna copy pretty much this information, but this is gonna be for writing instead of just reading. Copy read workbook, so this object here. And then the sheet is gonna be equal to workbook.getSheet 0 again. So pretty simple. Once you do that, this will be used for reading, this will be used for writing. So what we want to do now is we want to write the date again. So as you can see now it's 3:02 p.m. So if we run the code now, it's going to change to 3:02 p.m. Now the style is something that I should not, you want to keep here. Okay, so in order to write something, now all you have to do is do sheet.write, indicate the row and the column, and then what you want to write. In this case, we want to write the date time, and we want to write it in this format. Then we want to write in the first row, so 0th row, and the first column, item, size, color, quantity. This is also that we can store this information in those columns and that we have the predefined format. Once you do that, all you have to do is just use workbook.save, and then just make sure that you're working on the same file name. You run the code, and if we go back to the worksheet, actually let's close it, let's run it. So as you can see, we have exactly what we want. We have the date time, and it has the most recent date and the time. We have item, size, color, quantity. You can change the order to whatever you want. You just have to adjust the columns and the rows, right? And the text. And then as we go along making the application, it'll save all the information right below these categories here. Okay, so we're almost done. Last thing that is very useful that I want to do in this video is we want to know the number of rows within the spreadsheet. So what we can do is create a number object and set it equal to read sheet.endRows. So read sheet is the one for reading, dot the number of rows. And we're gonna print number, and this is gonna give us the number of rows within the spreadsheet. And this is something that we're gonna be using in the next couple videos. So as you can see, we have only one row. And that's right, if we go, we only have this row here. So that's why it gives us that. Perfect. So that is pretty much done.